talo.
I greet you all. I'm very glad to be the moderator of the second panel of discussion.
Hibridnu konferencijake koja su
Hybrid conference, which is the fourth conference, international conference, to safeguard our Romani language. I'm going to be very glad, as I already mentioned, at this second panel discussion. Our subject will be the harmonization process and the teaching materials that are to be taught and to safeguard our Romani language. Before I will present you the panelists that have worked for many years on Romani language, that have reached a high level. First of all, I would like to congratulate our Roma, the International Romani Language Day. Romani language is one of the most important elements of our identity. I'm going to give an example. Well, we have a very beautiful men and women. They don't look like me. When we speak about our roots, India, there is one issue that connects us, is the language, the Romani language. When you hear someone who speaks the Romani language, we feel that we are also connected to those persons. Since generations, we are keeping our language, and let's not forget that for a long time the Romani language, it was not a subject at school. Our language is one of the most beautiful languages that has been transmitted orally from a generation to the next one. Today, my panelists that are going to talk to me is the Delia Grigore. She's the head of the Romani Language and Literature Study Program at the University of Bucharest. Also, she is the president of the association Roma Center Amare Rromentza, and she's a member of the Barvalipe Academy at ERIAC. Second panelist today with us will be Červenka, who is as well a lecturer of Romani studies at Charles University in Prague. And the third panelist who will join us today is Cristian Pădure. He is also a lecturer at the University, Bucharest University, on Romani studies. And I'd like to add, before we start the discussion, you can follow this discussion on YouTube in Romani and English. And if you have any questions, you can freely write us in the chat. And at the end of the discussion, we will try to answer your questions. And I have to say that it is very important to have such an institute like ERIAC, who is gathering all the Roma from the world to have such discussions and panels. Now I will give the floor to the first panelist, Ms. Delia Grigore. You have the floor. If you can please unmute your microphone. I apologize. Thank you so much, my brother. The Romani literature, the better way of harmonizing the Romani language. I greet you all, dear brothers and sisters and friends. In Romania, the Romani language is being taught for more than 30 years in schools and at the university as well. There is no other country in the world where the Romani language has been taught that long. Even more, the Bucharest University is the only university where the Romani language has got a whole bachelor program on Romani language. It was the well-known language researcher, Marcel Curtiade, who wrote the Romani language and the common Romani language. It was the well-known Professor Gheorghe Sarău who brought this writing of Romani language and this common Romani language to Romania. The steps that have been taken by them both, it has a great value. We can learn a lot from them and to respect them for their doings. Only this Romani language writing and this common Romani language has been seen by the Roma who speak Romani at home as a foreign language, made by Gage, for the Gage, in order to learn the Romani language without understanding what is needed to be done in order that our Roma to be pleased with and to want to learn the common Romani language and its writing. Even more, the writing of the common Romani language, as it is taught now in Romania, has some issues, as for example, in the middle of the Latin alphabet, there is a letter theta, which is in order to show the noun cases, locative and ablative, and it is heard like a t, like a d, depending on its own place. So it is not needed, so let's not make the writing of the common Romani language even more difficult. There are also some letters like k and s, which are used only to show the cases dative, genitives, and social instrumental. And it is heard like k by g, or s and ts, depending on its place. So it is not needed in order to make it even more difficult, the writing of the common language. These two issues show us that the writing of the common Romani language is showing us too much, and it's useless for the grammar of the Romani language, the common Romani language. Another example is that it has been chosen ts, another one that is even more known at international level, ts by ts, in order to write ts. It has been chosen sh, another one that is more known and internationally known, sh, in order to write sh. Has chosen j, and another one that is better known and easier to use, j, in order to write j. And also e, it's used writing three letters, e, j by ya. And this is not a real motivation for this writing. Why? Because it has too many diacritics and accents, which makes the writing of the common Romani language even more difficult, and it's useless. We have to put aside these, as I think, these issues, and to make the writing of the common Romani language more easier and attractive in order to be taught and learned. The first step is to put aside the diacritics issues and difficulties in order to make the grammar more easier of the Romani common language. The second step is to organize national and international campaigns within the Roma meetings in order to show why it's important not only to speak the Romani language at home, but to ask the school to bring up the Romani language at school, why it's important to learn the Romani language at school, and why it is important not to lose the Romani identity. Who is going to organize this campaign? The Romani organizations, the Ministry of Education, and local networks like school inspectorates and others, but also the public administration with the support of the public funds. What we need is a strong political will, and at the moment we don't have it anywhere. The European Union is also to support with great funds for this very important issue, to be seen by the parents, Romani parents, that is needed for their children. The Romani language is to be mandatory for all Romani experts that work in the public institutions. These experts are to try to give a possibility for the Romani language writing and the common writing. The second step is to organize a national and international campaign for the Romani language to be taught more at schools and universities. And who is going to organize this campaign as well? The Romani organizations. And who is going to put it into practice? The Ministry of Education and the local networks, as I said, school inspectorates and school as well. But also public institutions with the support of public funds. And here is also needed a strong political will. As a method to raise, to develop the common Romani language and its writing is to collect the Romani folklore and to issue such books about. We also have to have to use the Romani language at the television and radio in the Romani, common Romani language. Who is going to do that? Well, the TV stations, the radio stations, and other media, together with the Romani organization, and as I said, with the financial support of public funds. Also here, it's a need of a strong political will, and the European Union is to fund this very important work. We are to issue cultural newspapers written in the common Romani language. Who is going to do that? Well, the cultural newspapers and periodics, together with the Romani organizations, with the support of public funds. And here is again needed of a strong political will, and the European Union is to fund this very important work. We are to issue books written in the common Romani language. Who is going to take over this work? Well, the Romani organizations with public funds. And here is again needed a strong political will, and the European Union is again to fund this very important work. Well, when it comes to the Romani language, it's also to be used in the Google Translate, to be added to, and also in other translation programs. We are to use the artificial intelligence and the digital technology, the internet and online dictionaries, and also the social media tools. As a conclusion, until now, the Romani language can become a common language with a common writing, which has got the strength to change the image of Roma in the world and to develop our identity. But there are needed more steps to teach the Romani language in many schools and universities, and to use the Romani language in many domains like media, as it's seen and heard in the literature, in the belletristics and public institutions and courts, administration institutions. But also we have to translate in the Romani language, for example, in the administration, in the courts, in the health system, and so on. But the better way to develop the literal Romani language, the nicest form of the Romani language is the literature, belletristic, written in Romani language, bearing in mind the common writing. Well, we have the Romani literature written in the Romani language. This is the only way how we can develop our language, and then to create new words using prefixes, suffixes, and to compose words using 2 or 3 words, changing the grammatical value or the meaning of the word. Well, we have some examples in the literature. Tropes, style, sounds, rhetorical. Tropes, style, sounds, rhetorical. Allegory, allegory. Antithesis. Antonymy, antonymy. Synecdoche, synecdoche. Personification, personification. Metaphor, epithet. Enumeration, enumeration. Comparison. Imprecation, imprecation. Interethnic relations. Interethnic relations. Fragility of human condition. Fragility of human condition. Freedom of expression. Freedom of expression. Interview. Interview. Sensitivity. Sensitivity. Originality. Inspiration. Inspiration. Creation. Creation. Emotion. Emotion. Poetical ego. Poetical ego. Self-esteem. Self-esteem. As the last conclusion, the literature written in the Romani language, it's supporting a lot the Roma in order to strengthen its own identity, to help them to know who they are as an ethnic group, as a nation, as persons. More than that, only creating new words in the Romani language, we can show to the Gage, but also to our Roma, that our language is of a great value, it's strong and beautiful, and can be even more beautiful, stronger, and thank you so much. We are to speak more about this subject. We are here.
Nice to hear, Delia.
Thank you, Delia.
Interesantna pointe,
very important topics for us, Roma, to understand how to safeguard our language and how to continue, how to transmit it from a generation to the second one. You mentioned something. There are many books that are done in order the Gage to learn the Romani language, but for us it's more important that our children, our Romani children, the new generations that are to come, to safeguard the language. Now, Jan Červenka is the next panelist. He's going to take the floor. He is a lecturer on Romani studies at the Charles University in Prague. And to remember our participants that are following in the social networks, you can send us your questions to the panelists. The second panel discussion is the harmonization of the Romani language and the teaching materials. Jan Červenka, you have the floor.
Wish you all good health, everyone. I'm very happy to take part of this conference. The past 32 years, because I've been existing at the Charles University, our MA educational program for women's studies. It was initiated by Milena Hushmanova. I was her student. Hushmanova program had a vision about emancipational vision. It's not only that we were talking about ethnography. the- She took the students to go to the caravans and to show respect towards the poor, the Roma literate. They knew. Uh, she also showed that there's Roma intellect, like Mr. Rajko Đurić or Jan Hancock, Christoph, Nadezhda Demeter, and many other big Romani names. That was the language before we started to communicate with the Roma, well, to communicate with the traditional Romani community in the language, perceive the language as richness with the Roma folklore. On the other hand, also showed how the Romani language can be raised in the modern communicational situations, in the policy, and the media, in the scientific texts. She helped the Romani elites to create neologisms with with Romani words, and she also took from many other non-Roma languages. And we didn't leave this method. Now I'm working with my students through the internet with new Roma neologisms, which helps the Roma journalists to find new words. Because of that, Hushmanova made a big progress in the standardizations, in the understanding, and she wanted to raise the language, to emancipate, to intellectualize, to bring some standards. That was that the Roma journalists created a first commission that created the Romani orthography in the Czech Republic and Slovakia in 1970. She helped the Roma teachers in Slovakia to create a new complex official standardization which is incorporated inside education. Big important path to raise it on a new level. I mean, the harmonization with other Romani dialects around the world. We cannot just be stuck to one country, to one dialect. There must be how we can learn from one another. There are a certain number of paths how to reach that. If you want to communicate with Roma from other countries, you cannot talk with them with the local Gaje language. You need to have internationalisms like the words educație or education, scientific unknown, and neologisms that derive from old Romani words like Siglariben and Jonimneskoro. Important inside harmonization with other variants. I mean of variants from the Vlach plural variantura. State or to say Vakerav, you need to know how to say it. That in other countries they say Motova or Vorbinav. In Prague, We're speaking the central dialect, which is the Lovari dialect, which is theoretically among the biggest dialects, or in the dialect. That's the dialect that I'm speaking on right now. To speak with the central dialect, there is a central Rroma. When we teach our students, we need to know to speak about the Lovari or the Vlachicko percent, that's 10% being spoken. And theoretically, our students to be taught
teoretickones abo pasívnones sa o dialekty
or passively
to
learn other dialects. Paths towards harmonization are important, but there should be organized conferences in Romani language, but in international conferences and for some international actions, you have a normal situation where everyone will be speaking Romani, like the one being organized today by ERIAC. And for the first time, the Rromistica, like lectors, like students. Now we have Renata Berkova that finished her master studies in our program, and now she's preparing her PhD. I do think that it's important to use the internet. Electronic media can make a swift and permanent corrections in gaining access to a broader spectrum of materials. It is important to have quick access to this information. We can use the internet to help our people, to, let's say, our teachers that are teaching courses into Romani language. And now I would ask to share. I would like to share with you
Marushem prema mushina vkarate arakel. Ай. Так. Так, mekie kvarzumavava. Avka. Vengere. Tak. A kada dikav me amaris.
I have a small issue with sharing my presentation.
You can make Amarola Vengero.
You can see a couple of examples from our dictionary. These are Czech words and the Romani variants, how they are written by our Romani journalists or some other international
debata
like debata.
Vakeriben.
Someone would say Vakeriben into Romani language.
Teavka.
Another example.
I say Panchezera lava.
There are 5,000 words here. So you have the Romani and the Czech form in this dictionary.
Vlachikone dialektostar. Now
we have Vlach dialect that is used in the Czech Republic, and this is the variant of the Vlach dialect. being used in this specific direction.
Online explikácia Romania ortografie.
Explanations of orthography
Andrej Čechiko
in the Czech language, phonology, morphology, and so on.
Palis o linky.
And we have a link of resources like educational materials. There are certain quizzes, certain publications regarding the Rromani language. And we have additional learning materials. We have many materials, a large. We have certain publications and lessons that you can open on links. Now, I have to go back to my presentation. These units or lessons are given in a video format. And I will now play the video. Now, Andrijano or someone from Technic show a part of our video lessons. Thank you very much. Play the video lessons. Thank you very much, Mr. Červenka. I do hope that the technical end is prepared for the videos.
Cava pies albo čajo cistu kekera. Cava nici, ma. Mara čaje. Kera tuke čajo cistu jar ma ela tuke. Pilham kembridai. No daje na bešea pročuče zle. Ake ima cukros tuke čiđo mandre sa. Savoro. Sa inandre. Kidav tuke tehal. Na kama mama de man. Haljum kembridai. Čavale, joj nigda šoana kamel tehal saravel. Kidav tuke užas. Diksavi som tuli. Ale tuli sta mreka niđuli sal užas kirav. Samore mangetene. Dikso tađom haluški siroha. Oča košti čilače. Joj ived maruš, ale menaha se. Same has. Mekama v jarminaha. Sarkerđom meske ekstra, udzimen marsandrečiđom, jer mi užas, kjerav tu kjerav, užas. Plačes. Mrorom radu halkavka dikez jarminaha, užas kjerav tu kjele. Tak garuves, no. Ale garuva viti rošero. Užas kjerav tu kje, kavka gruli. No. Hema sorok mangetva. Ema dara tvava tu kjeleha. Tvavale. No akeleha. Sau šukarta niricis. Mridaj mandinjas. He gruli tvoves. Hej. Gruljenca kera. A tu sarkeres zaluški. Da mena tvova gruli. A so.
Avilemani volta.
The shop.
Pețolura pe patura. Uite că dorchești șucar pe patura. Ce-ți mai dor? Ai șucar, nu taca cu calobile, ma se parnesa. Mica codui tu șucarii. Bomba. Ce pane? Super. Fernando. Che viene comincia a cantare șucarsi, che Katka pe kadiri si șucar pe langura parne. Talența somna cune lole. Super. Scavaptu menge. Casile cauții, le micini, gale stedera, catcan, cadasile flepo event, Frederi, no, casi, bunura, casile Sofi, șucar. Casi avem, casile șipchi, șucar.
Așa bylo šunďan hoj o
And you have heard
videos has
the last video was
centrálno dialektos
the central dialect, and the
André
previous video was in the Vlach dialect. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all good health. Thank you very much, Mr. Červenka. Again, for our viewers via the social platforms like Facebook or the ERIAC webpage, where you can follow the conference in Rromani and English language. You can post your questions regarding this panel. We will read your questions, and the panelists or myself will give an answer to your question. Next panelist is Mr. Cristian Pădure. He is a lecturer at the University of Bucharest for Romani language. Pădure Cristian, take the floor. Thank you very much, brother. I wish you all good health throughout the world. I'm very happy in my heart that I am here with all of you in this conference where we will be speaking about our Romani language. Today we will be speaking about the standardization of and the harmonization of the Romani language and teaching materials that are done or will be done. It is well to discuss about this topic, even though 30 years have passed since we started working on the language. There's a process, a normal process that is ongoing with the other languages. It took a long time to reach this point of harmonization, and there is willingness from many people that work on the Roman language, and it's hard to talk, to talk no language. Say so that everyone will say yes, that is the best variant of harmonized language, Romani language. We need to strive to work on the Romani language and its standardization, harmonization. That will be a language, it will be a strong language, a live language, and it will be a normal process. It's not. What is new? When we're working, I will give you an example from an engineering domain course from the world. Everything what has been done, differences made, philosophy behind it, the thoughts and the minds behind it. The harmonization, as I said, is not something new, but the thought process or the idea is new. The mind that will be doing this harmonization is new. Why? Once when once we have Rroma that are speaking at home Romani, they can work on the standardization. And this here that important role ERIAC holds, where we have the Roma as authors, as consultants, or that are part of this team to help or to play forward this, or to this harmonization, the way forward for this harmonization process. ERIAC makes the series of published a series of books learning the Roman language. We're talking about A1 and the A2 edition, and I'm very happy that area I was working together with Michaela on the third edition of the B1 edition of the Romani language book. Of course, and there are many materials, and we are happy that Roma and non-Roma and friends of the Roma, so far they have printed materials, they have published materials to make a comparison with other languages. I believe that there are many languages that have do not have done many things regarding their language. And again, I see that there are many countries who have a national language, but they do not have many. They don't have many requests about their language. We have this broader acts, broader types of elements in the Romani language. And we're happy that we have these materials. And we're happy that there are some ways and people want to take part in this harmonization, and ERIAC gives us the resources and partnership and help. So on both ends, ERIAC gets to enter in the institutions and to work together with these institutions. What I want to say, how we're moving forward on how things are being done, or what's the philosophy behind it. Well, we do know the alphabet is an instrument. When we start from this point to see it as when we use this instrument, we need to create the context where this is a necessary instrument for every person. We have this instrument, but you do not have a context to do something with that instrument. Is just a symbol. But we quote unquote fought very hard when we are talking about the harmonizations. We need a flag, we need an anthem, we need an alphabet. And these things in the negotiation process, we needed them as a symbol. We undertook to we have the alphabet, and we have the right to sit down with the persons that are talking about their people. There is time when we have to show the others that we are very qualified and as a nation to be perceived like the others, and to so that the alphabet and the harmonization process won't be just a symbol, but it will be something that will be useful for our everyday life. That is the second point regarding the philosophy, how we perceive things. The third point regarding this philosophy is where we are headed. It is normal that not everyone in that country, not everyone are doctors or philologists or linguists. That is normal. But when you know, the people that the ones that are speaking the Roman language, we we have this elite. But I do believe that we need to work with the Roma that are speaking Romani language, speaking the Romani language, and to make them work with the materials or work for the materials given to work with the materials made from the professional linguists regarding the Romani language. If we do not succeed in that, we will not see a unified Romani language. Now we're the Romani language that is quote unquote poor and will not be shown or among the Romani language is very rich and it is going to become utilized in everyday sittings, in everyday relations between families, and our role to put the Romani language where its place is. That is the philosophy and the part of harmonization is our role when we are when we will be hearing the Romani language on the TV stations, in the radio, and to make a lobby and to fight for these rights. The Romani language is like a product. A product when, let's say, the consumption part, you can make a new product that will not be bought by anyone. They will buy the product, but they won't put it in its rightful place. I do believe these. We do have the time now, and I believe that these things can be accomplished now with our work together. We have friends, experts who are interested in this work to make a strategy for the Romani language. And the last part of the last point behind my philosophy that I will is to see the Romani language not as something that it will be by itself, but the Romani language is a part of a broad system. It's a part, but broader universe. So-called. This universe makes interaction and influence. This universe influences the Romani language. That universe is the education, the social networks, everything that you want will make a direct influence to the Romani language. And the historical happening will be directly connected with the Romani language, and you cannot take the Romani language and to work on it working only about it. It is much more broader spectrum, and now we need to see things much broaderly and to understand the context that the Romani language will be the final product with harmonization, certain policies, and adapted policies regarding the Romani language. If not, we can create policies like the rest. We translate, we make copy paste from different policies, and we can achieve this.
We can also do that. We also have the help of our friends, Gage, that are putting on the agenda on national level or international level. We can do that, but why? We have to see. What I believe is that, and I'm telling you openly, it is the philosophy that it stays behind our reactions. This is what I wanted to tell you. I apologize to you all. I'm not in an office, but I was on the way. But I'm glad that I was with you. And I'm glad to listen to you and that you listen to me. Greetings to all of you, and I congratulate our language. So God may help us.
Cristian,
Thank you, Cristian. Very interesting points that are connected to the Romani language. The harmonization, I want to greet all the participants that are following us. I kindly ask them to freely ask questions or to post comments about, also in Romani or in English. Also those that are following us on the live stream. I don't know whether Delia, Jan or Cristian, maybe you want to ask questions among yourself with regard to the work related to the Romani language. If you have any questions. I would like to talk a little bit with Delia, my colleague. I have a lot of information about her work because we are colleagues at the university, Bucharest University. I would like to ask her if she sees an opening of the ways towards the written literature in Romani language, and if these authors, whether they are or not initiated, or whether they have initiatives in Romani language, the common Romani language, if they are writing using the Iru alphabet, or are they having other directions or wishes? Which is their view towards the standardization of the Romani language. Thank you, Cristian. It's a very good question indeed. Well, it is a big issue. It's a big problem. The literature written in Romani language. In Romania, more or less, we have just a little bit of literature in Romani language. We have some, but we have a lot of literature written in the Gagicani language. The big problem was also the history. Our identity is stigmatized. Well, Roma speak Romani, the Roma authors, but the Romani language is a little bit poor, and they don't know how to say. There is not a well-developed lexicon, but the first step, as I already mentioned, is to learn and to be taught as schools, but also to be used on the media platforms, because otherwise we don't have someone who can translate the literature. Even if it's written, we have no translators. So let's say in Romania, who is writing belletristic, nice literature, as I said, in the Romani language? Well, we have Luminița Cioabă, Sorin Sandu, Nora Costache, Camelia Stănescu, and myself, and other 2 or 3 persons. But the big authors, we have very important authors, very good authors, like Marian Ghiță, Emil Sude, Viorel Congu, and others. They write only in the Gagicani language. There is an issue, a problem, which hurts a lot. We don't have many authors that are writing in the Romani language. Among them, even myself and Luminița Cioabă and Camelia, we write in Romani, but we don't use the common writing. As I said, I noticed that there are a lot of problems. It's difficult. So, for example, now I wrote my presentation about my work in using a writing that it's mine. It's easier for me in order to write it faster. So what shall we do? We shall sit together, the authors, to see what we choose in a country, or maybe in all countries, where Romani language is written, and to see what is the easiest way of writing, and not to waste time looking for special letters, symbols, and characters. Another point is, who is going to read? Even though that those that speak Romani at home, they don't read in Romani. Well, they say we speak Romani, but we don't know how to read, because of the way you use your alphabet, which is very difficult and I'm not familiar with. So what we are supposed to do is to translate lots of documents, to use the writing in a easier way, and the language should be taught in more schools and to be used in the media. Very important when we have in the media the writing, when we're having some films, even if it's in the Gagicani language, then we should use the subtitles in the common Romani language, and we use it as being the best. It's a very big problem. It's useless to write in Romani. I write in Romani because I'm an activist and I want to show to everybody that our language is strong, is beautiful. As I already presented some example, how you say, there was a question coming from Vasile Ionescu, it's an intellectual Roma from Romania. He said, your language, well, he's not a good Romani speaker. He's not a native speaker, but he learned a little bit, but not that well. And he told me, your Romani language is that poor. Tell me one philosophic word. He said, hermeneutica. Well, it's an international word, and we can say in Romani the same. But I chose another way. I said, well, we have a word for that. And then I thought how to say it in Romani. understanding, because what is hermeneutica? If you understood the text, that it's very difficult, from the Holy Bible, for example, and if you see the hidden sense, so in Romani, we would say for hermeneutica, understanding, deep understanding. So what I want to show you by saying that is that we have to, we the activists, the linguists, I'm not a linguist, I'm dealing with literature. So I say we should translate and see how can we make our language even more valuable and stronger. We have to teach our Romani readers what they need to know about the Romani language. They want to be Roma, not only to speak at home a few Romani words and the rest gagicane, not only we eat and speak, but to speak about mathematics and journalists and so on. Delia, could you please make it shorter? Yes, well, we need money for that. We need political will. This is not an easy issue. It's a very difficult one. But we have to create a group, working group. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. And before we are closing this subject, I would say now, and I'm going to send out a proposal to our head at the University, Delia Grigore. It is needed to have a reform on the Romani language and to embrace the proposal that came from ERIAC. Of course, you that are teaching the Romani language, because I'm teaching literature and others and culture, and you, those teaching the Romani language, and I myself are a representative of the university. Let's try out the new writing that you have it in your books, you, Cristian and Mihaela. So let's try it out. Let's see how it works, and then we can change and make it even better and easier, and to write using this writing. We need a reform at the national level as well. Yes, of course, we will do it that way. Thank you. We have a final question from ERIAC, the office. Anna? Thank you all for your discussion. This is a proof, alive, that at the university, well, this is our strength. I congratulate our language that it's at the level of the university. It's true, Romania is the country where the most important work on Romani language has been done. There are some other issues that we have to take into consideration. Thank our brother from Prague. They create nice teaching materials that are given to the students, but also some other people may have access to these materials in order to learn the Romani language. So what is needed to be done, we have many publications in the Romani language, but we have to open our eyes also to the social media, because there is a lot of content made by our people, by the mother tongue speakers from all over the world. You can hear a lot in Romani language. You can see videos on Facebook. written by our people, and they don't have a special writing system, but they write among each other, they create videos in Romani language, and this is the basis of our work, and we can create upon the common language together with Cristian, with the university from Prague, with Delia and other universities, and with all the specialists that have been invited to our conference today. I think we are on the right way, and thank you all so much for your help. Now I'm giving the floor to you, Adrian. Thank you, Mihaela. Thank you all, dear panelists that joined us and shared with us your knowledge at the fourth Hybrid International Conference about the safeguarding of our language, Romani language. This is our language, and we have to be proud of. I greet you all. I wish you a lot of success. And I would like to conclude by saying that the epicenter for the harmonization of the Romani language should be ERIAC, because listening to what you've been discussed about, it is up to the countries to harmonize the language, whether in Serbia, Macedonia, Czech Republic, Romania. But if we put this work together, I think the knowledges of you all, you can create even greater synergy. Thank you for following us. I'm inviting you to continue following us as of 12 o'clock about the strategy in Europe, strategic cooperation in Europe for the common Romani. We will have Professor Hristo Kyuchukov, Silvia Lakatos, Diana Kirilova, and David Strauss, and moderator will be the journalist, my colleague, Gilda Nancy Horvat. She's also a member of ERIAC board. Thank you so much. I congratulate the language, the Day of our Romani language. We thank you as well. We will have 15 minutes break.